40 days without food, not a single meal, and the voice that came to him in that silence didn't offer poison. It offered bread. That's the part most people miss. The danger wasn't evil. The danger was something good, handed over at the wrong time, through the wrong door. But to feel the weight of that, we need to go back to the moment just before. The Jordan River, water still dripping from his hair. A voice from the sky had just called him beloved. His identity had been spoken out loud in front of witnesses. And then, almost right away, he walked east, away from the crowd, away from the river, into a place where the wind erases your footprints in days. The Judean desert is not soft sand and gentle dunes. It's jagged rock, white heat, and silence so thick it presses against your ears. The temperature swings from brutal midday heat to near freezing after dark. No shade, no company, no food, just miles of bleached limestone and the occasional scorpion tucking itself under a ledge. Why would someone walk into that right after the best moment of their life? Think about it. He had just heard the most powerful words a person could hear. "You are my son. I am pleased with you." And his next move was to go where no one could see him, no one could feed him, and no one could help. Most of us, after a moment like that, would chase the next crowd. We would look for more applause, more proof, more witnesses. He went the other direction. He wasn't running away. He was being shaped. The desert strips you down. It peels away every mask you wear in public, every comfort you lean on, every role you play for an audience. It leaves you with just one thing: who you are when no one is watching. Moses climbed a mountain and stayed 40 days before he came back with stone tablets that would shape a whole nation. Elijah walked 40 days through the wild before he heard a still, small voice at the mouth of a cave. 40 days, in these old stories, is not a random number. It's the time it takes to burn away the old self and step into a new one. It's the line between who you were and who you're about to become. Now, here's where the body starts to fight back. In the first days without food, your hunger spikes hard. Stress hormones climb. By the end of the first week, your body has burned through its stored energy and shifted to breaking down fat for fuel. Weeks later, muscle starts to waste. Your mind narrows. Every thought bends toward one thing: relief. Your brain doesn't care about your mission. It cares about keeping you alive. After roughly 40 days of total fasting, the human body enters a window where organs start to fail. He wasn't just hungry. He was standing at the edge of death. Picture him near the end. Ribs showing, lips cracked, hands shaking. The stones around him are smooth and pale, almost the same color and size as the flatbread sold in every village market. And into that raw, aching need steps a voice. Turn these stones into bread. Seems like a small thing, right? He's hungry. He has the power. Why not eat? The obvious answer is that it's just a test of self-control. Resist the urge, prove your strength, move on. But that reading misses something deeper. The offer wasn't just about bread. It was about sourcing. Where do you get what you need? If he makes his own bread from rocks, he cuts the thread between himself and the one who sent him into the desert. He becomes his own provider. He doesn't need to trust anyone. The act itself might look small, a single loaf in a silent wasteland. But the shift underneath is huge. It says, "I answer to my own hunger," nothing else. He pushed the offer away with a single line. A human being doesn't live on bread alone. Not a rejection of food, a rejection of the shortcut. And the strange thing is, the bread was real. The need was real. The power was real. Nothing about the offer was fake except the path. That's what makes this first test so sharp. It wasn't a trick dressed in obvious evil. It was a real good offered through the wrong channel. Now the scene shifts. The desert rock falls away, and in its place rises the highest point of the temple in the holy city. The southeast corner of Herod's temple towered above the valley floor. Wind at his back, a straight drop below. Crowds gathered in the courtyard, tiny as seeds. The voice returns. This time it quotes sacred text. "Throw yourself down. The scriptures say angels will catch you. Your feet won't even touch the stone." Notice the tactic changed. The first test was about the body. This one is about proof. Force God's hand. Make the rescue happen on your schedule, in front of witnesses. Land in a crowd of stunned faces, and no one will ever doubt you again. It's a shortcut to trust. Instead of earning it through years of faithfulness, you could have it in one afternoon. One jump, one miracle, one headline. Think about how many leaders have tried some version of this. A grand gesture designed to silence every skeptic at once. It never works. Not really. Because loyalty built on spectacle needs another spectacle to keep it alive. The dose always has to increase. Trust built on spectacle is not trust at all. It's awe, and awe fades fast. The crowds that cheer today are the same ones that walk away next week. He knew this. He answered with another line from the old texts. You shall not test your God. In other words, faith is not a stunt. You don't force a rescue just to prove you're worth rescuing. Here's something worth pausing on. The voice used scripture this time. It quoted real verses from real scrolls with real weight, and it twisted them. The same words that can anchor a person to truth can also be bent into a trap, depending on who holds them and what they want from the listener. Context changes everything. A verse pulled from its roots can be made to say almost anything. This is one of the oldest tactics in the book. You don't invent a lie from scratch. You take something your listener already trusts, and you rotate it just a few degrees until it points somewhere it was never meant to go. Now the final test, the hardest one, and the most honest. The voice takes him to a high place. Below, stretched to every horizon, are the kingdoms of the world. Cities gleaming with torchlight, armies marching in order, roads stretching across mountains, trade routes humming with gold and grain. All of it. Every throne, every crown, every flag. All yours, the voice says. One act of worship, and it's done. This wasn't a test of hunger or pride. This was a test of patience. Because here's the thing that makes this moment so heavy. He was always meant to be king. That was the whole point of the mission. The mending of the broken world. All of that was on the table. It was real. It was coming. But the path to get there ran straight through suffering, through rejection, through a cross. The offer wasn't to give him something false. It was to give him something true, but early. Skip the cost, jump to the end. Take the crown and skip the cross. Every leader who has ever cut corners knows the shape of this deal. You get the power now, but you owe a debt you can never repay. The title comes without the scars that earn respect. The kingdom comes, but it's hollow. History is littered with rulers who seized thrones they hadn't earned, and the pattern repeats. The grip tightens, the fear grows, and the very people they rule become the enemy. Power without cost always costs more in the end. He turned it down. Worship belongs to one place, and one place only, he said. So what's the pattern? Look at all three together. Bread, a temple leap, world power, body, standing, authority. Each one was something real, something needed, something that was already part of the plan. But in each case, the offer said, take it now, take it fast, and take it from the wrong hand. The deepest tests don't look like tests. They look like chances. They feel wise, they make sense on paper, and they always skip over the hard middle part. The waiting, the building, the trusting without proof. But here's where it gets more complex than a neat moral lesson. This framework, choosing the slow road over the shortcut, doesn't apply everywhere. There are moments in life where speed is not a shortcut, but a lifeline. A doctor in an emergency room does not take the slow path. A person fleeing danger does not practice patience. The rule only holds when the fast path exists to dodge cost, not to save a life. Remove the dodge, and the whole pattern flips. That limit actually makes the story stronger. It's not a blanket rule about always being slow. It's a sharp tool. It asks one question. Are you moving fast because you need to, or because you're afraid of what the slow road will cost you? When he walked out of that desert, he was the same person who walked in. Same body, same hands, same voice. But something had been forged in those 40 days that couldn't have been built any other way. He had been offered every exit door, And he had closed each one, not because they led somewhere bad, but because they led somewhere early. The mission that followed was brutal: rejection, betrayal, exhaustion. And at every point, those desert offers must have echoed. You could have had bread. You could have had proof. You could have had the crown. But he had already answered, not just with his words, with his feet, walking straight ahead on the narrow ridge, one step at a time. Every no in the desert became the backbone of every yes that followed. There's a reason this story has outlived every empire that existed when it was first told. Rome fell. Babylon is dust. The Persian roads are buried under modern highways. But this quiet account of a hungry man refusing bread in a wasteland is still being told, still being argued over, still cutting people open in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday. Not because it teaches people to avoid evil. That's easy advice. But because it names the much harder truth. The most dangerous door is the one that leads to a good thing, just not the right way. If this story stayed with you, there's more to come. Every week, a new story like this one, painted in light and told in full. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And somewhere tonight, on cracked earth under a sky full of stars, the wind is still erasing footprints. But the path he chose is still there,